Okay, today I'm going to go over how I created these 3D printed ornaments. The process is a three-step process. First, creating an STL file or obtaining one, creating the G-code file, which is the toolpath that your 3D printer will use and the settings for it, and then finally printing the model. There are many popular online repositories of already created models from users who have created their own files, and this is one such called Thingiverse. If you don't find your desired model in an online resource, you can also create your own. One such tool is an online resource called Tinkercad. It is fairly rudimentary in that you use basic shapes to create your models. The upside is that it is easy to use, but the downside is it lacks precision. So it is great for creating quick prototypes or one-off models that don't require a lot of precision. Here you can see I'm creating the ball ornament, and I start off using a general torus shape, and what I simply do is I create the torus in the shape that I want, and then I proceed to duplicate it and move it around to the various positions that I want it to be in. The end result is, of course, the ball that gets finally printed. And as you can see, it's fairly easy to move the shapes around, and you can get quite complicated shapes by simply doing this. I have been able to do a lot of the modeling that I've done for my 3D printer using this tool. And like I said, it's not extremely precise, but I can get down to a tenth of a millimeter in accuracy as far as positioning stuff, which is about the tolerance that the 3D printer will really handle or really define. If you get much smaller tolerances, sometimes the 3D printer itself will have a hard time handling that. And as you can see, it's fairly simple to simply create a quick prototype with this tool, and there it is. I mean, that's basically what it takes to create that ball ornament in Tinkercad. And then of course you export it to an STL file. And here you can see I am showing the star ornament that I created. It was simply created by using a straight line or a bar in an X pattern, and then I simply put that X pattern on all 6 sides of a cube, and then when you turn it up on one corner, it creates a star pattern, and you just put a ring on top of it. And this is an example of where I've taken a model that I downloaded off of Thingiverse, and because it didn't have the hanging ring on it that I wanted it to have, I imported it into Tinkercad because it's an STL file, and then I simply attached a ring to the top of it. As you can see, the little ring there along the side, that's where I created the ring, and the pink snowflake is the original model from Tinkercad. Now this is a tool that I love to use called OpenSCAD, which creates the models in a programmatic fashion as opposed to creating them using individual lines or shapes. The beauty of it is that you create a basic shape and then you can programmatically tell it where to place those shapes. And using programming, you can do this in an iterative fashion. The reason I wanted to do this was I wanted to create a number of types of the snowflakes, but I didn't want to individually draw each shape. And because the shapes are all the same throughout the whole model, I can create one shape and then just tell it to iteratively place them in different parts of the model. And doing this, I was able to create several different models very quickly with the same program. And that's one of the beauties of this particular tool, the OpenSCAD. The next step in the process is called slicing. And for this we use a tool called the Ultimaker by Kira. This is one of the popular ones in the 3D modeling industry. In it we have defined the printer where we can tell it the temperature of the nozzle and the bed, as well as things like the infill, which is how much internal support structure our model will have, as well as what they call supports, which are non-model printed pieces that support your model. They're overhanging pieces of your model. The result of all this is called G-code, and this G-code is what we give to the printer as to actually do its printing. The next step is to load the G-code onto the print server that I have set up through a web interface. This allows me to control the printer remotely, as well as do things like create time-lapse photography or videos of the printing process. And here we can see where I am starting to print the ball ornament. And the print server allows me to monitor the progress of the print. Here we see where we are monitoring the temperatures of the nozzle and the bed before it actually starts to print. And then once we get up to temperatures, I can switch over to a camera that I have set up where I can actually visibly monitor the printing process. And here I have several time-lapse clips of prints as they are being printed. And that concludes my video. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely holiday season.